Fireball.
We're taking it down. We're taking it down.
You're saying it's Fireball Saturday.
It's Fireball Saturday.
There's no alliteration there.
Well, with this group, I mean, it's Fireball every day.
That's right. Well, Tim had another thought.
And
while he's still hanging on to that thought in his brain, I think we ought to let him have it out before he forgets.
Well, I had actually applied etiquette question for our expert here. So, what is the etiquette about one guy remarking on what a nice head of hair another guy has?
Oh my gosh!
Because I know you can't go into talk about women and their appearances and all that, but if some dude is commenting on another guy's hair, how is that? Is that okay?
I would just say thank you.
I would say thank you very much.
I would say thank you. Compliment 3 people a day.
All right.
Oh, I like it.
But what if it kind of creeps you out?
That's Mr. Goodhair talking over there.
Mr. Goodhair.
Not in smile, boys. Not in smile.
All right.
But don't wink.
All right.
Yeah, don't wink back.
We'll be right back.
We have a great guest right here as well.
Returning
continuing
guest.
on
I
this.
believe this is her third time.
She's a 3 or a 4-timer.
Four-time.
She's a 4-timer here with us.
Wow.
Let me tell you, it is the great Jodi Manfred with the Doug Erdy Realty Group.
Yeah.
Doug, how you doing out there, buddy?
Cha-ching.
And
Cha-ching.
cha-ching.
Let's see if he'll go all in.
And by the way, he wants us to let everybody know, and Jodi, he specifically wants to say
he was coaching you.
it is a great market. And Doug, we agree with you, by the way. We could not say it any better. It is an absolutely incredible market. But we have his best. I mean, really and truly, Jodi Manfred, and she is a great friend of the Rat Pack, great friend of ours. And how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you again for having me on.
Absolutely.
Well, we love having you on board here all the time.
It's so fun, too. You guys are just
We
great
don't
group.
have fun on occasion.
Every once in a while.
Anyway, but you were talking about the market, and it has changed a little bit.
Right.
So talk a little bit about it. We think it's, listen to Dr. Ted Jones. He is my go-to guy, and he's been accurate every year, but he's talking about, we're going to have a little bit of a slowdown, not a lot, but prices are going to stay up. Are you seeing pretty much that?
That's what's interesting. It feels like the prices are not only, sustaining, but even maybe continuing to increase. However, I think that the strength of the market, at least in our neck of the woods, you're seeing that, look, a year ago, houses were flying off the market in a week or a day, and we had multiple offer situations, on a regular basis. I don't think we're seeing as much of that. That, as you were saying, I mean, Rob, that $300,000 to $500,000 price range is still extremely, healthy. The homes are moving fairly quickly. The high end has slowed quite a bit. But the values are, staying healthy. It's just that the time on market, it looks like it's
I usually tell people we're moving into what I call a normal market. We were in a hyper market,
Right,
which is
right.
not really is not that good for market because it drove prices up artificially, kind of like almost not as bad as California or Florida, but it drove prices up quickly, or Vegas. Yes, exactly. But it did cause a lot, like in the Woodlands and of course inside the Loop. I was watching lot prices go up for these new construction, and it went from like you buy a lot in height for $30 a foot, then it went up to $60 a foot.
Right.
All in a 2-year period. I go, that's not even healthy.
Right.
And so if you dial back to say 2012 when we were getting in a good recovery, houses in that high end were on the market for 6 to 10 months.
Was normal.
Which is normal.
Considered normal, right?
Because the market's always a pyramid. The higher you go up, the less number of people are out there that can afford that house.
Right, sure.
It's a pretty
It's
simple
a smaller
formula.
percentage of the population.
There
Absolutely.
you go. That 1%ers.
And you list a lot of homes. You're a great agent. Obviously you do both sides, the buyers and listings. But let's talk a little bit about if you're listing your home, what to consider. I mean, what are some of the considerations right now that get you top value and allow you to sell a home a little bit
thinking
faster?
putting a down under pool in. Top value.
Absolutely.
I worked that in for you, Brett.
It's a great question, and it's really an important question right now because when you talk about, yes, the market's becoming more normal, well, that means it's not going to be the same scenario as I'm a desperate buyer and I don't have a lot of choices. No, I have some choices now. So as a seller, you need to look hard at, we talk a lot about marketing, especially when you guys have me on the show. Well, anything that you're selling, and if you're a marketing type person, you're going to look at your competition. I think it's no different when you're selling your home. I always encourage my sellers to go shop the market. If we're going to be listing, let's say it's the $500,000 price range, pretend you're going to buy a $500,000 house and see what's out there.
I think that's a great way to do it because, their home is special.
For sure,
just like everybody else's,
right.
So they get that emotional attachment to it, and you're talking to them, and they will believe you if you have them and go show them what's on the market,
right.
And all of a sudden they're going to get a new perception of how their house. And again, it's like lace up your Nikes. It's showtime.
Right.
Make that house.
And do they take advantage of that?
Yes.
I mean, do you have your clients really take advantage of that? Because I think it's a great idea.
Right. Well, I believe they do once we talk about it,
right.
The importance of doing it. But, Rob, you bring up a good point. People have emotional ties to your home. It's a very special place to you. You see your memories and your kids growing up and all of these things, and that has value to you. However, when you're buying a home, you're just basically, looking at a shelf in a grocery store of which one makes more sense to me for the money. So, that doesn't carry over those emotional ties you have. You really have to take a step back and use a marketing perspective.
Which is why you should hire a professional who
Exactly
can be objective
right.
about your home, and they will give you and listen to them. That's the part that always puzzles me is that a lot of times you'll have an expert background. You'll tell them something, and they go, "Oh no, that's not true." And it's like,
Right.
What?
Right.
Yes, it is.
Well, and I think sometimes, too, it's not even on purpose. It's like we walk around through our everyday life with blinders on. It's just the norm. We see our house, obviously, a lot. So we don't notice the things that someone from a third-party source or someone that's new walking in, or like you said, a professional who looks at homes in this price range in your market every day, we don't notice those things. Little things like clutter. It doesn't feel like clutter to you. It's your belongings. It's your personal pictures, When you're walking into a home, though, as a realtor, those are things you're going to pick up on. And I always tell my clients, look, we're selling a home. So all of these nice upgrades and the crown molding and, the features of your house, we want the buyers to look at those things and not be distracted by the items that you have placed in here. So that's one thing is, definitely look for clutter, which, again, it's hard to do on your own.
Yeah. Well, and of course, I know a lot of people will hire a stager.
For sure.
A professional come
yeah.
in because that they get to be the bad person to tell them
Right,
to take on the.
right.
I was always like the kitchen Gestapo, and I made people clean up. That's get most clutter. It seemed like small appliances and
Right.
this and that, little knickknacks, and I had done one house in Bel Air, and I made her take everything off the counter except for a few key items, and she ended up not selling the house. She decided to stay, but she kept her house that way from then on.
Right.
She loved the non-cluttered look. But she says, I really enjoy this. Thank you.
We have a commitment from a new sponsor. Speaking of staging,
Oh,
they'll be
yes.
coming on board here.
I thought I'd give you a nice segue
Oh,
there.
by the way, Mary Scally and her
Yes.
wonderful company, North Houston Blinds, and she's going to be staging the Rat Pack.
Boy, there's a
starting,
job right
April.
there. We're staging the Rat Pack.
That
Oh,
is-
my
that's,
gosh.
That's a job right there, let me tell you.
But
Yes. But you're talking about, we're talking about staging. How about the other things such as, we were talking about this during the break. A lot of times you might have a house that needs some updates.
Right.
And when I mean updates, it might be paint, it might be carpet, it might be, a new, stove or microwave.
Right.
And then you have this pushback of somebody wants to know, well, do I really have to do that? How do you explain it? Because sometimes that's the difference between getting your sales price or it's
Right.
staying on the market and getting a lot less
Right.
because that stale market stays.
It's a great topic. Everybody wants their cake and eat it too. However, the problem is you want top dollar for your house. Again, you take a subjective view of what you're up against. So as a buyer, and we see this a lot, you may have, and even on our side, from a real estate perspective, we look a lot at the numbers and the investment side. But buyers are emotional. They need to have a good first impression and an immediate buy-in. And two, as they're looking at a home that needs these updates or needs, appliances or new floors or paint work and things of that sort, they're not going to be looking at it from a bottom dollar investment. They're going to be, it's going to add up very quick. And then they're thinking, well, I've got to put $50,000 into this home. Could only be 10 on your side. But if you want top dollar, you've got to present your house in the best possible scenario you can.
Yeah, and it's not a direct proportion to a return either, in that it makes it more sellable. It doesn't add to its intrinsic value a lot of times when you change out like appliances and things like that. Buyers have an expectation of having things that are in good working order and up to date, things like that, because they have that choice out there, especially in the price ranges we're talking about. So, yeah, you may have to invest a little bit, but you will get top dollar, and it does make it more sellable, so you won't be on the market as long.
Well, and I think that's one of the things also is by doing that. If you don't do it, then it stays on the market 6 months, and what ends up happening? You get those low ball offers, and then that's when that whole that avalanche effect takes place, because then you're like, that's too low, and guess what? The second one is even lower.
We have what they call a PAR report in our tempo system, MLS, so we can actually watch the trail of tears as houses are being lower. And most of the time, if a seller had just taken our advice in the beginning and priced it right, that wouldn't have happened. I've almost seen it 100% of the time, it's probably in the high 90s, that they end up taking less than what you had originally thought it would sell for. So
great area too, because Jodi, you work in the King, what used to be called the Kingwood, Humble, Atascocita area.
Lake Houston
people
area.
don't know that we're rebranding that area as the Lake Houston area. I have an office there. Chris has an office there.
Right.
And people always talk about Sugarland this and the Woodlands that, but the fact is there's no place that has more growth potential and more new and exciting things and companies coming in than the Lake Houston area. And I think maybe we'll talk about that in the fourth segment a little bit.
I didn't realize we were rebranding up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Kingwood, Humble,
You need to work on it a little bit longer. I didn't know
It's
that.
now the Lake Houston area, and there are a lot of people working very hard to rebrand it, and people really don't appreciate how much growth is coming in there and the number of companies that are relocating there. So
We're talking about adding another high school. I mean, the growth is tremendous, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon.
Let's promote our area
You've got
in
one of
segment
the
4. But
highest growth areas, but we are coming up against a break on this section. How can we reach you if you don't mind?
Okay, so website is always easiest. I have jmluxuryhomes.com and then jodimanfred.com. It's JODIMANFRED. You are more than welcome to call my cell phone, even if you have a question in anything you need.